Welcome. I am so excited that you came and you answered our call to be a STEM hero. I'm Professor Matthew DeLessio, and I teach at Cal State Northridge in the geology department, but I actually was a former high school teacher, and I kind of miss my days working with kids and inspiring them and getting them to work harder than they ever had. And I'm hoping that I can convince you that teaching is something you should consider as a STEM student. You can follow along in our presentation at the tiny URL at the bottom here, Be a STEM Hero, or using this QR code. And one thing I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take our brief welcome survey so we can see what you're thinking at the beginning of this video, and we'll come back to it at the end. So go ahead and pause and do that right now. The next thing I want you to do is to reflect on why you're here. Why did you come and watch this video? What drew you to teaching? What stories do you have in your head? Because those are the things that are going to keep you going both through the application process and once you get in the classroom. So pause your video right now and think about that. Well, this is a video of a very enthusiastic teacher that I think really it inspires me every time I watch it, and I'm hoping it will convince you that teaching is something that you should consider. Let's watch.
He says the problem with teachers is what's a kid going to learn from someone who decided his best option in life is to become a teacher? He reminds the other dinner guests that it's true what they say about teachers, that those who can, do, and those who can't, teach. I decide to bite my tongue instead of his and resist the urge to remind the other dinner guests that it's also true what they say about lawyers. Because we're eating, after all, and this is polite conversation. I mean, you're a teacher, Taylor. Be honest. What do you make? And I wish he hadn't done that. Asked me to be honest, because you see, I have a policy about honesty and ass-kicking, which is, if you ask for it, then I have to let you have it. You want to know what I make? I make kids work harder than they ever thought they could. I can make a C+ feel like a Congressional Medal of Honor, and I can make an A- feel like a slap in the face. How dare you waste my time with anything less than your very best? You want to know what I make? I make kids sit through 40 minutes of study hall in absolute silence. No, you cannot work in groups. No, you can't ask a question. So put your hand down. Why won't I let you go to the bathroom? Because you're bored and you don't really have to go, do you? You want to know what I make? I make parents tremble in fear when I call home at around dinner time. Hi, this is Mr. Molly. I hope I haven't called at a bad time. I just wanted to talk to you about something that your son did today. He said, leave the kid alone. I still cry sometimes, don't you? And it was the noblest act of courage that I have ever seen. I make parents see their children for who they are and who they can be. You want to know what I make? I make kids question. I make them criticize. I make them apologize and mean it. I make them write, and then I make them read. I make them spell definitely beautiful, definitely beautiful, definitely beautiful, over and over again until they will never misspell either one of those words again. I make them show all their work in math and then hide it on their final drafts in English. I make them realize that if you got this, then you follow this. And if somebody tries to judge you based on what you make, you give them this. Let me break it down for you. Let me break it down for you so you know what I say is true. I make a goddamn difference. Now what about you?
I mean, it's just so inspiring to watch that. And I want to make it clear that effective teachers like him make a difference in the lives of their students. There's research that shows this. For example, comparing students that have similar backgrounds at similar schools, and you look at those students that just were randomly assigned 3 effective teachers for 3 years in a row, their scores go up to the 83rd percentile. But if they just happen by the luck of the draw to get 3 inexperienced teachers in a row, they end up down at the 29th percentile, even though they started off at the same point. So these teachers are making a difference. That could be you being here in that green, high scoring, very effective category. And it really makes a difference. So when I was teaching, I had sections of about 30 students, and it turns out that of my high school class with 30 students in it, each period, about 4 of those students would not end up graduating high school. And they said things like, "Nobody cares about me anyways." And that's where I have a chance to make a real impact. I can both keep the 26 students on board for finishing their high school degrees, and those 4 students that are struggling and may not make it, I have the chance to pick off 1, 2, 3, or even 4 of them and get them back on track. And that's an amazing opportunity. And it makes a difference because this is the lifetime salary advantage of graduates from high school compared to people that drop out. It's about $300,000 over their lifetime. You think about $300,000 and those 4 students that you've got in one set class period times 6 periods a day. You know what a teacher can make? They have the potential to make $7.2 million a year in future salary for these students here. But then what happens when those students don't have a teacher at all, especially those struggling students, those 4 folks that were thinking of dropping out and might end up dropping out? What if they don't have anybody there? And that's what's happening right now in California. There are 16,000 classrooms around the state that are without a permanent teacher right now. And what that means is that they need to find substitutes, but substitute shortages are so severe because of COVID and other considerations that some districts are worried about having to temporarily close classrooms and asking parents and retired teachers to help. We should not be seeing these headlines. We shouldn't be having this happen. And this is where you come in. We want you. You have the opportunity to come and help and be one of those substitute teachers in the classroom to help make a difference. So just one more little opportunity to convince you why you should teach even long term. This is just about what it's like to live as a teacher. Your starting salaries are about $50,000 in the LA area, but they go up pretty high and pretty quickly after that with excellent benefits and even better job security, things that a lot of people take for granted when they're looking for jobs. So keep that in mind there. In terms of the satisfaction, you get to nurture young minds and you support your community. Schools are the center of many communities, and you have the chance to be a part of that. And then, of course, summer break. Who can argue against that? Well, a lot of people are wondering, okay, I'm kind of interested, but where would I end up teaching? And you can teach just about anywhere. This is a map of Los Angeles County and Ventura County, and each one of these little divisions in here is a separate school district. And every one of those school districts needs your help, including the second largest school district in the entire country is Los Angeles Unified School District, but all these other ones that are smaller and might be near you are also needing your help. No matter where you live, there's a job for you. And that's true as well as you go on if you become a permanent teacher. No matter where you want to live in the country, you can find a job as a teacher. So what's it like? Let's listen to someone who's been actively substituting in Los Angeles Unified School District named Ankur Patel. And he's going to give you a perspective on what his life is like as a substitute.
Hello, my name is Ankur Patel. I'm a substitute teacher at LAUSD. I've been doing it since 2018, elementary, middle school, high school, mostly middle school, in Sylmar at Olive Vista Middle School, Go Pandas. And do I like substitute teaching? Yeah, I actually love it. You know, the flexibility, the days that you can work, it pays well enough, and, you know, it feels good. Kids need it. If you're able to teach different subjects, it's also can expand your mind and your horizons. And yeah, man, I enjoy substitute teaching. Again, the flexibility, the pay, the connection to the kids, they need it. The flexibility in terms of the days you work, it's a really good side gig because it allows you to focus on other things because you're not the one doing the lesson plans and all that kind of stuff, but you do step in and, you know, for that day, those kids really need you. And LAUSD is where I sub at. It's friendly. They are helpful in hiring people, bringing you on board, again, filling out whatever information you need to do this important job at this crucial time. So again, I'm Ankur Patel, encouraging you to substitute teach wherever it may be. Thank you. Bye.
All right, so have I convinced you that you want to be a STEM hero? We're going to use this flow chart because there's a couple different ways that you can help out in classrooms. The first thing we need to know is, have you finished your bachelor's degree yet? And if the answer is yes, you're eligible to be a substitute teacher. And if you're also a current graduate student, you're also eligible to be an instructional aide. And you get that choice. I think if you're a graduate student right now, we're really urging those folks to go on and be substitute teachers, but it is your choice. If you don't have a bachelor's degree yet, you're in current undergrad, are you willing to commit to 5 days a week? And if the answer is no, the job description that you're looking for is a substitute instructional aide. But if you are able to figure out how to make that work, and you want to be an instructional aide 5 days a week, then that's another option as well. And these jobs, instructional aide, are also called teacher's aides, paraeducators, paraprofessionals, and there's also an option of a playground supervisor. All of those are things that you can do to contribute to your schools. So be on the lookout for those job descriptions when we get to that stage. Just as a big, broad category, of course, our graduate students are eligible to be substitute teachers, as well as folks that have graduated from college recently. And you can work 1, 2, or even 5 days a week if you have the time. But for our current graduate students, we're urging you to not devote more than 1 day a week, simply because we want to make sure that you value your own education and complete that master's degree that you're working on. Substitute teaching does begin kind of early in the morning, around 7:30, and you are out by 3:30, and you get about $200 a day. It depends upon the district. For undergrads, the instructional aide option, they're usually 5 days a week, but you can be a substitute for fewer numbers of days a week. And those are typically 3 to 6 hours per day, and the pay is much less, unfortunately. It's $15 to $20 an hour, but still a great opportunity to be employed and a great opportunity to help out. Now, our CSUN Be a STEM Hero program is going to sweeten the pot for you. If you teach 10 plus days during the spring semester, we will give you a $200 bonus at the end. And on top of that, if you attend our support sessions, which we really want you to do because we don't want you being out there in the schools alone without any help, we'll give you $25 each session, up to $250. We'll have 10 sessions, and that will pay out at the end of the semester simply because it's easier for us to do administratively. So that's a total of $450 that you can get paid on top of what they already pay you for being a worker in the school districts. The roadmap of what this is going to happen is you're going to have to figure out how to do the application. We'll talk about that. For substitute teachers, there's a very brief interview over the telephone or online. Don't worry about that. You have to define your schedule about when you're available and when you're willing to help out. And then schools will call you, and you'll get into the classrooms. You'll be a participant, and you'll teach. And then we will provide you those support sessions. Again, we want to have a forum for you to ask questions, figure out things that you're struggling with in the classroom so that you have a good experience, or at least as good as you can. It is going to be hard work. There's going to be a lot of moments that are going to be challenging for you, but that's what makes it so inspiring. Now, if you're interested, I do have to give you this warning. There's a lot of paperwork, and I'm sorry about that, but the school districts are doing this because they need to protect the safety of the kids that we want to serve. So there's a good intention behind it, even though it's a pain, and we'll help you. The first thing that you need in terms of paperwork is you're going to need to have some proof of your basic skills. And you're going to have to submit documents to prove that you're proficient in both language and math. And they've defined what those are. They look like this. You can turn in an SAT score, an ACT score. If you took one of the CSU placement tests, like the early placement tests, the EAP or the ELM and EPT, and have passing scores on those. If you took AP exams. But most of our candidates that we're looking at are going to submit their transcript from college where they've got a B or better on all 3 types of courses, one from the category involving critical thinking and reading, one from the category involving writing, and one for the mathematics category. And most of you probably have taken at least one course where you've gotten a B or better in all 3 of those categories. So we'll show you how to fill out the forms to verify your basic skills. Now, if you do end up getting some costs, like ordering your official transcripts or official score reports, save your receipts, and the Be a STEM Hero will reimburse you for those. We're also going to reimburse you for when you get hired, you're going to need to do something called live scan fingerprinting. It's a criminal background check, and a tuberculosis test that you're going to have to go get at the Klotz Student Health Center or a convenient clinic near you. We will pay for those once you get to that stage. And also, we want to make it clear that should you choose to become a teacher full-time and you want to enter CSUN's credential program, we're willing to pay the costs for that, the application fees and any other associated fees for that, because we want you to teach. So what happens right now? You need to pick a district that you're going to work in, gather your materials, and apply online. And we've got a website that will help you find the districts, figure out what materials to gather, and give you tips on all the questions that they're going to ask you while you apply. And if you love teaching, once you get into it, we want to remind you that there are a lot of ways that CSUN can help you pay to get a teaching credential and become a full-time teacher if that works for you. We have federal teach grants, a teacher residency program that pays you $15,000 a year, and Noyce scholarships that can pay you up to $15,000 a year. These are pretty competitive, but they're wonderful and a lot of support in that. We have a $5,000 scholarship from Microsoft in the CSU program. And if you have questions, you can email Dr. Foley, or if you're in the presentation, read a little bit more about them by clicking here. We want to encourage you to meet with us to figure out the paperwork. There's a link you can click to get to some office hours or email addresses for reaching out to us. It's time now for you to be a hero. I want you to crush the paperwork, get into the schools, share your STEM skills that you have, and if you want to get started on that, go ahead and click through the link to do the exit survey here so we can find out how we can help you.